This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and we got a great show lined up for you today, guys, so let's just jump right into it. Joining me on the line today is David Moadel. He is the chief analyst and the opportunity researcher at PortfolioWealthGlobal.com. David, thanks so much for joining us here today. So much to talk about. Last time I had you on, we were talking about the everything bubble and the fact that there's going to be some inevitable corrections coming down the road, and so I thought it was a good time to get a follow-up on you from you on that front, because it almost seems like we're entering into a stage of a new state of euphoria, really. There's a stock market bull run. Cryptocurrencies are up. Bitcoin's up right now. Gold is down, however. That's interesting. We'll talk about that too. But maybe we could start with the current all-time high stock bull run right now. Would you say things are being overbought right now? Like, are people just buying stocks at highly valued, overvalued stocks? And does that mean that there's going to be an inevitable correction coming soon? Or can we defy gravity, so to speak? How do you see this moving forward?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Dan, for bringing me on your program again. I always appreciate it. There's always that I know you know this, and your audience surely knows this, that there's always that final melt up before the big contraction in the economy and in the markets. I don't believe we've seen that yet. Don't get me wrong. The S&P 500 and the other major indexes are overvalued. Isn't it funny how the retail traders and investors are always the last on the bus? They're always the last people to arrive at the party. And what do you get when you're the last person at the party? Well, the pizza's old and stale, the beer's flat, it's no fun, right? So you don't want to be the last person. I'm not saying stay in cash, because cash is a deteriorating asset. As the great Rob Kirby once said, all fiat currencies will all go to zero. That's their target. And the U.S. dollar, of course, is no exception, as we are in America, unfortunately, living in a land where the debt is the greatest in the world. We are the leader of the free world in that respect. And it isn't funny how all the analysts are coming out bullish now. They're lagging indicators, especially in the mainstream media. And how all the stock market gurus are, well, you know what they say, everyone's a genius in a bull market. So right now you're going to hear a lot of analysts and a lot of article writers bragging and boasting about how they made great calls since the beginning of this year. You could have bought anything. You could have thrown a dart at a dartboard. You would have done great. Look, the S&P 500 is having its best year so far since 1987. The market's rallied 18% in just a matter of months. I don't know about you, Dan, but I don't like to invest after that happens. The idea is to get in before. It's amazing. You'd have to go back to December of 2010 to get a year like what we've had so far. I don't believe this is the blow-off top yet. If you look at what happened prior to 2008 or 2000, you get that one final last gasp of the bull. And that's when they shake out all the shorts, all the short positions, just give up and cover their shorts, and you get that one last blow off. And then it really happens. I believe that 2008, 2009 were just a warning shot, but to go short right now, I think would be suicide. Just my opinion.
Well, do you think there could be some sort of a new cataclysm? Like, could the Fed raising rate, hiking rates, trigger things?
Sure. Okay. The most recent statement from the FOMC only reinforced what they said in the previous FOMC, Federal Open Market Committee meeting, which is that they're not going to raise rates this year. They might raise it once next year and probably not at all the year after that. That's if they follow the dot plot. A lot of people are projecting rate cuts at this point. What that could do is, again, facilitate that final blow-off euphoric top. Okay, but they can only prop it up for so long. They're a gunslinger with one bullet left in the chamber, and that's rate cuts. Once that's gone, what tools are going to be left in their tool belt? Nothing. What ammo will they have left? Nothing. I recommend people start protecting themselves, whether it's with a position in precious metals, which I always recommend. In case people didn't know, I'm with portfoliowealthglobal.com. We have a free newsletter on the homepage. People can sign up for that. We'll send out some materials to you so you can start protecting yourself now, because the time to start protecting yourself, the time to start crisis hedging is not when it's already started. By then, we all know that markets go down faster than they go up. It's elevator up, escalator down, as they say. So time to start protecting yourself now. We have a report on that, portfoliowealthglobal.com/bear, B-E-A-R. If people want some tips and strategies, actionable strategies on how they can start protecting themselves with precious metals, with carefully selected stocks, because I'm not recommending people get out of the stock market entirely and just roll your cash up into a mattress, or worse yet, keep it in a bank. That's financial suicide. So there are things you can do now. You just got to be super, super cautious.
Well, I would agree that precious metals is one of the best ways to go. And right now seems to be a good time, in particular, especially for gold. I mean, last I checked, I think we're sitting in at around the 1270 or so.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be that psychological key breakout number that's going to get the bulls excited again in the gold market?
Yeah, well, 1,300 has been such a pain point for gold. Right now, I've got gold at 1269 and silver at 1460. So I'm excited about gold as well. It's just got to get above that $1,300 level and stay there. It went above it, went below, went above it, went below. Keep in mind that it's been as high as almost 1,900 back in September of 2011. It's got so much further to go. It's testing people. And of course, you got the paper market manipulation in the COMEX markets. So they're going to have that for a while. But once those shorts start covering, once the 1,300 level is penetrated and all the paper shorts start covering, it's going to be a rocket ship. And silver, right now I've got the gold to silver ratio at 87. That's obscene. What that means, in case people don't know, the gold to silver ratio tells you how much more expensive gold is than silver. Right now, gold is a lot more expensive than silver. I'm not saying gold is expensive. It's not. It's cheap. I'm saying that silver is even more of a bargain. So what you can do is you can play the gold to silver ratio by increasing your silver position relative to your gold position. You're still in precious metals, but you're going where the bargains are, okay? Mm-hmm. Normally, the gold to silver ratio comes back, actually, in fact, it's always come back to the mean of 50. Again, it's at 87 right now. Pretty obscene, pretty extreme, and I believe that some mean reversion is coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, we obviously don't ever want to put all our eggs into one basket. It's good to diversify that portfolio. And at Portfolio Wealth Global, how invested are you in the crypto space? Because I'm interested right now. Bitcoin is starting to see some of these potential key breakout numbers as well. So how are you feeling about the current Bitcoin market, and where do you see that going from here?
Well, I focus more on the blockchain than on the price of Bitcoin itself. Now, we at Portfolio Wealth Global, we got into Bitcoin a long time ago, so we're not worried about whether it's 5,000 or 6,000 or 4,000. When you get in, when it's a three-digit number, you're not so worried about that. Right now, I've got Bitcoin at 5,490 thereabouts, almost 5,500. That was unimaginable not long ago when it was 3,200. From 3,200 to 5,500, that's a 75% gain in a few months. Not too bad. So how do I look at blockchain now? Well, Bitcoin, first of all, a Bitcoin ETF is inevitable. The SEC cannot stall that forever. Blockchain technology is being adopted, as are stable coins. Remember when Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan were criticizing cryptocurrency and the blockchain? Mm-hmm. And then they come out with JPM coin. Okay. I don't want to call hypocrisy necessarily, but I do want to wonder whether maybe they were invested while they were telling people to get out of that asset class. Perhaps they were loading up. I don't know. I'll let you decide on that one.
Well, I believe. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I believe in blockchain technology as transformative, as anti-inflationary, as more secure and stable as far as a digital ledger versus fiat money, which they can print to oblivion. And so when you believe in the underlying technology, you're going to win sooner or later over the long term.
Well, moving forward in the long term on blockchain tech, is there a way to ensure that this doesn't get steered into the wrong direction, essentially? I mean, right now, I know, like, in terms of censorship, tech can be great. There's a lot of new social media websites, for example, popping up. But I think decentralization seems to be the key here moving forward. So I guess the question is, if these banks and people like that are getting into blockchain tech, how important do you think it is that they're decentralized, similar to how Bitcoin operates as opposed to a centralized blockchain tech company?
I love the idea of decentralization. It is spreading, and it's a good trend. We don't want to invest too much power in the deep state and the shadow governments out there. So, yeah, decentralization is fine. It's more power to the people. I'm all for that. Now, power to the people, not populism necessarily, okay? Because populism is becoming defined as the socialist agenda of Ocasio-Cortez and the rest. I'm not talking about that. When I say power in the hands of back in the hands of the people, I'm talking about financial freedom. I'm talking about the ability to have that grassroots movement, which is what the blockchain was. The government never, at least the United States government, never would have come up with blockchain. They never would have come up with the decentralized digital ledger. Whatever is anti-fiat, I'm good with. Okay, there's a reason that other countries, such as Turkey, such as Iran, such as India, China, Japan, Russia, are dumping fiat currencies, dumping the dollar in particular, and loading up on gold. They're loading up on precious metals. They might not always declare it. China is known for not declaring their gold holdings until years later. But when they do finally report it, you say, oh my goodness, look at the chart. Look at how much they're hoarding of it. And so if they know something that we don't or we refuse to acknowledge, then they're probably right. And the retails, unfortunately, are, as usual, wrong. But you don't, watching this and listening to this, you don't have to be that. You don't have to be the last person on the bus, the last person to the party. You can get ahead of the game.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about how to specifically do just that. You guys at PortfolioWealthGlobal.com have ways for people to wisely invest their assets. So let's talk about some of the best ways you think people can protect themselves and their families today, especially with the looming dollar crash that is also inevitable.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I mentioned before the gold to silver ratio extremity, the extreme reading. People can read about that at portfoliowealthglobal.com/ratio, RATIO. We'll tell you how to get into that and just get into precious metals generally. I do like the idea of investing in certain mining stocks, precious metals mining stocks. Understand that can be speculative, but there also are gold and silver royalty/streaming companies, and they have a different business model. What they do is they provide financing for the miners, because the miners can be speculative if you don't choose the right one. They loan money to the miners pay them back with interest and with streaming income or royalties when they do strike gold, literally speaking, or silver. And so they generally get their money back very quickly, and then regular consistent income coming in, both for the royalty/streaming company and for the shareholder as well. No guarantees, but they tend to do quite well over time. I don't recommend getting into bonds. Right now, they're paying around 2.5%, not recommended, and they're government debt notes, as is cash, if you really think about it. So what you can do is get into those select mining stocks. I also believe in the pot stocks, but only certain ones. I believe that's a huge market out there, and it's only going to grow. Right now, 65% of adults polled in America believe that legalization should occur. That number was only around 27% when I was a kid, like 30, 40 years ago. So we're the sentiment goes, the politicians and the lawmakers will follow. They're going to have to. If there's overwhelming support for the pot sector, then the politicians will have to follow, and they are. William Barr is a lot more laissez-faire compared to Jeff Sessions, who is the anti-pot Attorney General. Trump doesn't seem to have any problem with it. He has expressed that he would sign the States Act if that were passed, which would allow states to make their own decisions as to whether it should be legalized or not. So, I could easily see legalization, or at least decriminalization, meaning that states can make their own decisions, coming very soon. And you want to get in before that happens, not after, because then, again, you're the last person.
Yeah, well, following the farming bill, I believe it was called, with the legalization of hemp, we're seeing the millennials get into this space right now, and they're actually kind of moving away from, the drinking kind of a partying, and they're looking into cannabis for recreational use. And just like you said, very forward thinking of you. Obviously, getting in now is very smart with legalization coming down the road, because, as we said, it's clearly what people want. So it's all about just being 2 steps ahead of the game. That's some great advice. I would encourage people to do the same. Look at some of those stocks. Do your due diligence. There's a lot of these LPs that are out, cutthroat. They're not out there for the best interests of the medicinal patients and things of that nature. But when you do your proper due diligence, you can find the right companies. And I know you guys have done just that. Thank you so much for helping us get a better understanding of the markets and where people can go to protect themselves. So why don't you just leave us off with some of the links? Like, if people want to find you directly, how do they do that?
Sure. Well, again, it's portfoliowealthglobal.com. Go ahead and sign up for that newsletter right on the front page. No obligation. We're not going to send you any junk. We're going to send you the good stuff, our research, which I'm part of the research team. If people have questions for me in particular, they can email me at David Moadel, Moadel, at gmail.com. I'll refer you to some resources. And I recommend that people start reading, by the way. Read books. People don't read books that much anymore. And if you're going to get into investing, all the great investors, all the Warren Buffetts, Charlie Mungers out there, they read. And we have a list of books that you should read and that the billionaires read. portfoliowealthglobal.com // rich books, RICHBOOKS, rich books. We have a list of the 8 books that all the billionaires read, and we definitely recommend that. So people can contact me in particular. Check out the website, check out the reports. I think you'll like them. Very
cool. Fantastic advice, as always. Links will be located in the description below, everyone. I strongly encourage you to check them out. Once again, David Moadel, thanks so much for talking to us today.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Appreciate it.
We all want truth. The truth will set you free.